Hey y'all, it's Winter. I'm coming at you with a special little episode. Today, Bernie Sanders did an interview with Pod Save America, and it involves messaging that I've been putting out and I think is important. Bernie Sanders was broke with some of DSA's, or Democratic Socialist of America's, policies, like abolishing the police, abolishing prisons, and abolishing borders and stuff like that. And on Pod Save America, he was asked about DSA candidates running on those issues, and I want to react to some of the things he says. So let's do that.
Your brand of progressive politics has always been focused on the material needs of working class people. And I would say that to the extent that you've broken from Democratic Party policy, it's usually around economic issues, healthcare, et cetera. There are some DSA candidates today, including some who've won their primaries this cycle, who've also talked about abolishing prisons, defunding or even abolishing the police, abolishing borders. You've never been for any of that. Are you worried that taking those positions, which are unpopular with most voters and even most Democrats, sort of hurt the movement that you've worked really hard to build?
I'm really glad that John kind of framed it in a way that it's a movement that Bernie built to kind of separate himself from other people, because there are people called Bernie-crats. That's what I call myself. I call myself a Bernie-crat or a AOC Democrat. And that's just branding wise, right? And so I'm glad that they recognize him, or John recognizes him, as the movement builder and the reason why the progressive movement is even growing in the first place. So he has the rightful name as the leader of this moment and movement.
Well, look, people have different views, and what you know as well as I do, that the right wing, that's their job, right? They will take what one person said and put, $80 billion of TV ads on it and make it claim every Democrat supports that.
Now, I'm really glad that Bernie made this distinction that just because somebody out there, agrees with this platform, the DSA platform, or whether it's, policies that he doesn't agree with, that the right-wing media does do this, where they'll take this extreme position and say everybody believes this, even though that's not necessarily true. And I think that's a really important distinction, because that's what the right-wing media does. And that's what I spend a lot of my time doing as well, trying to get people to realize, not all socialists are communists, or not all socialists believe in these issues, and that, there are Democratic Socialists who are different than, other socialists. And I spend a lot of my time, talking about that. And I'm glad that Bernie kind of, not necessarily said that, but it's just because one person who is more towards the left on some issues says something, doesn't mean that everybody, on the same side believes in that issue. So there needs to be a distinction there, and he put that in there, and it's really important.
No serious person that I know who is running for office believes in quote-unquote defunding the police. I was a mayor for 8 years. I worked very closely with cops. They have a very difficult job. Do we need police reform? Do we need to get rid of racism within police departments? Absolutely. Are there jobs that other people can be doing in terms of mental health, drug addiction that now falls on a cop's shoulders? Yeah, I think we should look at that. But nobody I know, believes in defunding the police. In terms of doing away with prisons, I hope the day comes. I hope the day comes when we don't lead the world in the number of people who are incarcerated. That speaks very poorly of our society. Yeah. But does that mean that there should not be dangerous people who should be behind bars? Of course, everybody agrees with that. Open borders, no. Most of us believe in comprehensive immigration reform. not opening up all the borders. But a lot of this stuff, as you well know, is what the right wing plays on and multiplies on Fox, 10 times a day and through their ads. But most of the serious candidates that I know and support do not support those things.
Quote, most of the serious people I know that are running don't support those things. Banger, mic drop, yes, important distinction. I wanted to talk about this interview, this little clip here, because I think it's really important for the progressive movement, just to kind of hear his perspective on it, and I agree with all of his positions here, and I think it's important to know that just because, some of us don't believe in those things doesn't make us not progressive or a socialist. A lot of these opinions that people have and positions people have are in the minority, and the right-wing media will paint all of us as harmful communists or whatever, way they want to paint us. And it's important to break away from that. And so I appreciate Bernie going on the offense and saying this. So thank you so much for listening. If you've been listening, I appreciate you, and I'll see you on the next episode.